Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. I'm your host, Amy Beltran, CEO and founder of Irresistible University. Through my podcast and signature coaching program, I teach women just like you how to ditch the body image issues, gain confidence, and lose the emotional weight to look and feel irresistible at any size. All right, guys, welcome back to episode 176. Today, I want to talk to you about the art of doing nothing and the art of doing nothing and feeling guilt-free. Doing nothing and feeling good about it, okay? So I'm going to share with you what's been going on. So for Christmas, my husband, which is like the best gift ever because I'm one of those people, like we've been together almost 17 years. There's nothing else you can, like we have everything. Like if I want something in the middle of the year, I'll just go buy it myself. Like I don't want to accumulate more stuff. And so for me, the gifting of experiences is everything, whether it's, vacation, a hotel stay, a pedicure, a spa treatment, those kinds of things. And so for Christmas, he gifted me a stay at the oceanfront. So I live in Virginia Beach. We have access to this amazing boardwalk with the ocean and lots of hotels. And he's like, pick a weekend in January, stay the night. I've got everything here. I'm going to hold it down. Go relax. He's like, you do so much for all of us. You deserve it, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that happened this past weekend. So this past weekend, we booked a room by myself for Saturday, and I went down to the beach. I had this beautiful oceanfront room. And one of the things that I do like to do periodically is, get a hotel room so I can do a lot of like goal planning for my business and for my personal life. And I've done this before. I call it like a mini biz staycation kind of thing. And so I thought that I would blend that with this mom-cation, if you will, for the night. And so I figured, I'll be there. I'll be alone. I won't have anybody asking me for things. I won't have any kids, needing all the things from me, so I can really focus, and I will just like get all of this creativity. I'm going to get this like momentum going. I'm going to just like have this epiphany moment and these breakthrough moments. And that's what I thought was going to happen. Okay. So I get to the hotel and I just, come in the room. I'm looking at everything. I go out on the balcony and I'm just taking in the ocean, and it's winter, so here where I live, this is considered a vacation town. Like in the summertime, I actually avoid the oceanfront. I avoid the boardwalk because there's just too many people. But in the winter, there's just like no one there. There's all this solitude, and I love it. So I'm just staring at the ocean, and I come back in the room. I set everything down, and I sit on the couch. And let me tell you, when you can feel the tears coming, like you have that feeling. I felt all of these tears just coming up, and they just started gushing. Like I was sobbing for a good 5 to 10 minutes. And I'm just thinking to myself, OMG, like, where is this coming from? I have this beautiful room. I have this beautiful like time alone. What is going on? And I didn't allow myself to stay in judgment. I just allowed myself to feel what I needed to feel. I let it all out. I got all the tears out. And then I'm like, okay, what is this, right? And my interpretation of that is this moment is the first time in at least, I want to say, I was saying like a year and a half, but honestly, I feel like this is probably the first time since 2020 when the world decided to shut down and I got pregnant that I actually have had true alone time where it's not in my car. I'm not running between meetings. I'm not running to pick up kids. I'm not like going to Walmart or Target to get groceries by myself, or, it was truly like that moment where I felt like my body could exhale. And that's exactly what it was. It was like the first moment in almost 3 years. And really that first moment in about a year and a half from when Catalina was diagnosed with diabetes that I wasn't with her. So I have not been away from her since June 2021. Ever since she was diagnosed, I have not been away one night. I have not had that. I just haven't. So to know that I am not in charge tonight. I am going to do my best to not look at the blood sugars. I'm going to do my best to not text Frank every time I probably still see it going high or low. He has it. He's capable. He knows what to do. You need to relax. So it was like this moment of just exhaling and knowing that it's been a long time and it's been a lot, and I can let my guard down, and I haven't felt like I can do that in a very long time. And I know I've shared throughout different podcast episodes, just operating from this place of extreme hypervigilance. And it has had my nervous system in overdrive for a long time. So I let myself just do that. And, guys, I brought my laptop, I brought my big Post-it notes, I brought my notebook, I brought all the things I needed to do this kick-ass business planning, goal setting type of session alone. Well, I have to tell you, I never once opened that laptop. I never once took a pen out and wrote in my notebook. I never once had any type of breakthrough moments of oh yeah, we got to work on this and we got to work on that. Here's what I did. I allowed myself to feel and experience doing nothing. And that is a big deal for me because I always feel like I have to be doing something. I always feel that even if I'm quote unquote relaxing, that I have to be listening to personal development podcast or personal development YouTube or having a book to read. And I had a book that I brought with me. I think I read one page of it. And it's really hard for me to sit in the doing of nothing and not feel bad or guilty about it. I'm like, oh my God, all this money on this hotel room and I'm not going to work. What is wrong? No, we're not doing that. That is not allowed here. So here's what I did. I check in. I have my waterworks moment. I'm like, all right, we gotta move on. And I ordered dinner because at this point I'm now starving. So I DoorDashed an extremely decadent, over the top. It was it's this seafood pasta with ginormous chunks of blue crab, shrimp, scallops. It has this creamy Cajun sauce. It is to die for. This dish is definitely for 2 people. Frank and I have shared it in the past. It is for 2 people, and I ate it over the course of the evening. I also got myself crab dip because if you haven't noticed, crab anything is my jam, okay? So I got crab dip, I got this decadent seafood pasta, and yes, girl, I got the cheesecake, okay? I took the cheesecake away in my little fridge. I'm like, we're gonna attack you later. And I didn't even eat at the table. I got in the bed because it was so comfortable. And thank you, Hyatt. I love Hyatts. They're the best. And I brought the little table over that kind of slides across the bed so I could put my food on it. I had my crab dip, I had my pasta, I had my drink, and I was like, I'm just going to zone out. I'm going to put on some kind of Netflix. I Chromecasted my Netflix, and I watched a series. It's this British murder mystery series on Netflix. It's really good. I'll get the name for it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I will come back and let you guys know the name of that. So I just decided this is what you need right now. And instead of fighting against the current and beating myself up and having this whole, the inner fat bitch conversation about you're so lazy, you need to be productive, blah, 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 blah. It was no. How long has it been since you have truly been able to do nothing and not be needed somewhere by someone. Girl, I can't even tell you the last time. So that's what it was called. Stay Close. So it's a Netflix series. It's called Stay Close. You know, it had all the elements that you need when you just want to like not think about real life. It was great. So I started watching that series and I enjoyed my dinner, and you know, I would eat and watch a little bit of a show. I went out on the balcony and just, you know, watched the ocean at night, and it was so great. It was so great. And of course, I had my cheesecake, and at some point I took a really long hot shower, and I had like my body scrub that I picked up on the way there, and then I got ready for bed, and I don't even remember falling asleep. I slept really well. And then in the morning, I woke up, I went downstairs and had breakfast, which was, I got to have breakfast like just getting myself a plate. I don't have to count carbs. I don't have to enter the carbs. I don't have to bolus insulin for anybody. Like, it's just me. I don't have to worry about any of it right now. And it was a really good feeling to be able to disconnect for a while. And after I had breakfast, and the day before I did take a walk down to the beach. And if you guys follow me on Instagram, you probably saw all of my ocean posts that I was putting. But I went down to the beach the night before I got my dinner, just to enjoy the ocean and the water and everything. And then that morning I got ready and I checked out of my room, and I had already scheduled myself for a massage. So I had scheduled a massage for that afternoon, a 90-minute foot reflexology massage. Every time I have a me day, I go and do this. Amazing. And that's what I did. And then after that, I wasn't ready to go home. So I just kind of like drove around, and I sat in a parking lot and watched my show some more. I didn't feel like doing anything. And it was really nice, honestly. And I didn't feel guilty about it. I didn't feel bad about it, because what I did in that moment was listen to what my body needed me to do. Okay. So my body needed me to take a break, because here's the deal, right? If I were to crack open the laptop, try to do some like brainstorming and, you know, that really highly creative stuff that we want to do, I would have gotten nowhere with it. It would have become frustrating. It would have felt like a chore. And for me to be able to do those things, I need to be in the flow of that creativity. And I think in order for me to get there, this is what my body needs me to do to break through in order to have that flow come back to me. So that's what happened. And it was lovely and it was amazing. And I came home and I knew that the moment you walk in the door, every feeling of relaxation, all of the things that you got to experience, it's going to go out the window. Because the moment you walk in the door, your kids don't give a shit that you had this relaxing weekend and you would really appreciate if that could continue. They don't care. So I know as soon as I walk in the door, you know, they're going to be excited. They're going to be all happy to see me, but I'm back in mom mode. So I took a few minutes before I came in the house and just kind of sat in the car and I was like, okay, you know, prepare yourself. This is what's going to happen. And it just really got me. The next morning, or that evening actually, I was feeling frustrated because I was already getting myself in a bad mood, because it's like relentless, right? It's nonstop with the things that are needed, the things that happen, you know. And so a great example of that is later that night, once Kat's sleeping, we were having trouble with her Dexcom, which is her glucose monitor that she wears. We've been having trouble with it the last, couple hours, where it's giving us really false readings. And then all of a sudden I go to check it. It's like 2:30 in the morning, right? I go to check something and the screen just says, this phone is no longer compatible with Dexcom. And I'm like, excuse me, what? With no warning, no prior anything. And we tried uninstalling, reinstalling, factory reset, everything you can think of. It's no longer compatible. So I was so irritated because I'm like, if it's not something, it's another, right? Like, it's always freaking something. And now I'm like, how is she going to go to school tomorrow? Because we won't be able to live, watch her numbers in real time. Anyway, so it just kind of like, it really threw me off, and it had me like a little bit pissed off at myself thinking, okay, you had this like 24, not even that, it was more than 24 hours because I left first thing in the morning on Saturday and I didn't come home till Sunday night. So you've had almost 2 days of like detoxing, if you will, away from your duties as a business owner, as a mom. And you would think that I would come back feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, excited, and I wasn't. If anything, it was making all of the little minor irritations feel bigger. It was making everything feel worse than it was. Because I try to be the type of person who doesn't stay in pity party mode because I used to be that person. And like, I try not to be like a victim. I try to like, look for the best in things. But right now I was just like, no, I'm in a pity party. I'm irritated. Why does everything always have to go to shit? Like, why can't we just have a night where everybody sleeps through the night? We don't have any technical issues. Like, I was just pissed. Okay. And then I was pissed because I'm like, you should not feel this way. You should feel refreshed. You should feel rejuvenated. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, okay, what in the world? I'm like, our bodies, our brains, we need that space to be able to take a break. And what it says to me is, yes, it was nice that you got to do nothing. Yes, it was nice that you got to get away, but one day is not going to cure it because it's been so long in the making of living in hypervigilance. And, I don't feel like I'm in survival mode anymore because for a while I was. But living in that hypervigilant state with your nervous system just constantly like your ear is always on the listen for someone screaming, someone falling, someone needs this. Like I even had this moment when I first got there and I went in the bathroom and I'm like sitting in the bathroom going pee and I hear like footsteps or something out in the hallway. And all of a sudden I got that like that mom, like, oh my God, I got to hurry up. I got to go. And I'm like, whoa, no, not today, boo. Whoever that is, they're not yours. Whoever that is running around, they're not your problem. But it puts you in that mode. And it's like what it taught me was that while, yes, this was a nice little getaway, you're not doing it enough. You're not doing enough for yourself, by yourself, and it is absolutely critical to your well-being, to your health, your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health for you to be able to do this more often and not feel bad about it, right? Like we told Kat even like mommy's, daddy was like, she worked really hard. Mommy deserves some time off. So like, this is what she's going to be doing. Like even teaching the kids, like, we need to do self-care. Self-care is very important. So it got me thinking about you guys and like how to bring this all back around that I know a lot of you are frazzled. I know a lot of you are, your cup is spilling over. You're burning it at both ends and you don't have much else left to give. And if you don't give anything to yourself, you're going to be in trouble. You are going to have a breakdown. You are going to have complete and utter burnout. And we can't afford to do that. So we oftentimes don't allow ourselves the art of doing nothing because we feel guilty. We think, well, I have this extra hour or I have this extra day. I need to fill it with something productive, right? I need to fill it with reorganizing the pantry. I need to fill it with running errands. I need to fill it. Meanwhile, you're taking and taking away from you and what you need. So oddly enough, this was so ironic. As I'm on this little, mom staycation, if you will, I see this Instagram post where this lady, her name is Dr. Caroline Leaf. She is a neuroscientist, mental health and mind expert, best-selling author, researcher, activist, mother. And she's at Dr. Caroline Leaf on Instagram. I literally, like, this pops up. I see it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is it. So she has this post And it says, instead of I did nothing today, and then it has 10 things that you did. And so it's like reframing, telling yourself, I'm lazy, I didn't get anything accomplished, da, 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 da. And it's like, okay, I want to go through these because I feel like this is just so important. So number 1, I chose to prioritize rest and relaxation. And I was like, yes, ding, ding, ding. Yes, that is exactly what I did. I chose, because it was a conscious decision for me, because I said, no, this is what we're doing. We're not going to force the work stuff. We're going to actually prioritize resting and relaxation, because how often do you truly get to do that? You know what I mean? Like before you're like, oh, I have an hour before the kids are going to wake up, or I have an hour before I have to go to drop off, or I have an hour before work is over. It's like, no, I'm going to prioritize resting and relaxation. And that's why I keep saying the art of doing nothing, because it's like, if you don't prioritize rest and relaxation into your life, you're going to break down. You are going to shut down. It's going to happen sooner than later. Number 2, instead of I did nothing, I listened to my body. And again, it was like, as I was reading this, I'm like, oh my God, I've already been having these thoughts. Like, yes, I am listening to my body. My body just let out. Like when I was crying, it wasn't sadness, right? I think so many people have this misconception that if you're crying, you must be sad and you must be depressed. It's like, no, the way crying works, it's an energetic release. When you have pent up energy that has just been staying in your body and you can't release it, sometimes it comes out as tears. It's also why when people are angry, some people cry, because it's an energetic release of those feelings. So I listened to my body. I allowed myself to feel what I needed to feel. And I also felt exhausted. And I'm not talking like I missed a night of rest, or Javi had me up all night. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the exhaustion that you feel down to your bones, your soul, your spirit, your mind. Everything is just exhausted. Okay. And so, yes, you have to listen to your body. Number 3, it says, enjoyed quiet moments to recharge your brain. That is exactly what I went to do. I went to be in the quiet, to recharge my brain. And in this particular instance, this is how I needed to recharge my brain. Where in the past, most cases, it's like we're listening to all the personal development, the motivation, the inspiration. I just couldn't even go there, you guys. I just couldn't go there right now. And being around the ocean and the beach, it is therapeutic to me. I've grown up around the beach my entire life. So being around waves and the water and just being able to hear that from my room was everything. It says daydreamed and had thinker moments. Yeah, for sure. Like, especially when you're a mom, you don't have a lot of brain space to daydream. I always say the white space is like filled in because you don't have the margins on your notebook, right? You don't have that white space to really daydream and think. And when things get quiet, when you're not needed, and here's the other kicker, and this is the hard thing for me. When you allow someone else to take care of you, it gives you that space. And I have a really hard time allowing someone to take care of me. And even the room for a while, it's like, no, you shouldn't do this. Like, it's going to be too much money. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, no, you're going to allow your husband to take care of you in this way. Because I'm very much need to be in control. I'm a very independent person. I'm an Enneagram type 8. And feeling out of control is like my unsafe place, okay? So allowing someone to take care of you in that way. Number 5, nourished yourself. Oh yeah, girl, we nourished myself. I nourished myself on some seafood pasta, some cheesecake, some chocolate covered almonds, okay? And here's the thing. I could sit there and call that a binge, But here's how I see a binge. A binge to me is you feel guilty. You feel it's like premeditated in a way. You feel guilt about it. You eat until you feel like you're going to vomit, until your stomach hurts. And for me, this was not a binge. Was it a lot of food and a lot more things that I normally would not eat in a regular day? Yes. So I consider that, a treat, a little bit of decadence, a little bit of luxe. And I told you guys, one of my words this year, what is it? It's luxe, right? That's one of my words that I'm living by. And it stays in that day and we move on. To me, that is not my binging behavior. My binging behavior feels secretive. It feels full of guilt. It feels icky, okay? But I allowed myself to be nourished with food. I allowed myself to be nourished with, the way that I took care of myself, the way that I just allowed myself to be myself, okay? And that I didn't have to find value or worth in my productivity. Number 6, instead of I did nothing, you recovered. Hell yeah, I recovered. And like I said, I think I need more recovery because I don't feel like I came back fully recovered because this is the first time in how many years, like I need to do this more often. And that was my breakthrough. That's my takeaway. So you allowed yourself to recover, right? I caught up on needed sleep. Yes, we need to catch up on our sleep. Number 8 says, I had fun and I enjoyed the present. Yeah, like I enjoyed just being in that moment. I tried really hard with the tech. Like if I saw the blood sugars, I tried really hard to let it go because I'm like, Frank's on top of it. And it was funny because there was one point where her sugar was starting to drop and he texted me and he's like, I already gave her a juice. Relax. Like talk about knowing each other, right? So just having fun and enjoying the present moment without worrying about what everybody else needs and wants. Number 9, prioritize your mental health. Absolutely. I mean, any of these trips, mom-cation, biz-cation, whatever you want to call them, I call it, a staycation. The whole purpose is because you have decided to prioritize your mental health. Because if you don't prioritize your mental health, again, you're going to burn out and you're going to find yourself, quite honestly, you can find yourself in the hospital sick because it will literally run you into the ground otherwise. And number 10, this is so big for me. She put, instead of I did nothing today, you found worth outside of work and busyness. How many times do you base your self-worth on your busyness? Do you base your self-worth on your production, your productivity, your status as an employee or a business owner, or the number of dollars in your bank account? How many times do we do that? And so I think, we do nothing and we feel like, oh, we're losers, we're worthless. No, it's the opposite. The art of doing nothing is knowing that you have worth by just being who you are, that you have worth outside of who you are as a mom, as a teacher, as a employee, as a spouse, right? You have worth just being who you are. And, taking into account this philosophy that being or relaxing is doing something productive because you're doing something that your body, it's like maintenance on your car, I feel like. It's like if you don't take your car in for oil changes, what's going to happen? Ask me how I know. Eventually, your car is going to blow up on the side of the interstate and you're going to have to get towed home and your car is going to now be useless. Ask me how my 20-year-old self knows about that because, yeah, it happened to me. I just never got oil changes on my car, even though my dad was like, oil change. It's like, yeah, okay, sure. Because, you're 20 years old, you know everything. So it's like, if you think about the fact, if you don't think about these relaxation trips, or it doesn't even have to be a trip, you guys, like taking time to rejuvenate and to relax. If you don't take them, think of it like an oil change. If you don't take them, eventually you're going to burn and you're not going to be able to do anything. So we have to figure out how to build this into our life. And again, it doesn't just have to be a hotel stay. Highly recommend it. I think it's amazing. I think every woman should be doing this quarterly, every 6 months, even once a year. I think everybody needs to be doing this. However, if you can't do that, how else do you build it into your life? You know, and not just every 6 months or every 3 years, right? Or every year. We need to build this in on a daily basis. We need to prioritize ourselves, knowing that when we do that, because think about the car metaphor, right? If I don't service my car and have the oil changed and stay on top of the maintenance, well, now I can't take anyone in the car with me because I won't have a car. So it's the same thing. If you are responsible for taking care of other people, it's so cliche, but it's so true. If you can't take care of yourself, you're not doing well for anyone else. You can't take them along with you if you're not taking care of yourself. So I just wanted to share my experience and how much that helps to literally allow yourself to do nothing. And I think that's the biggest thing that, you know, this big takeaway here is you have to do it without the shame and without the judgment, and knowing it is perfectly okay to do nothing. It's okay. We don't have to be productive. We don't have to, you know, have a day off and accomplish a whole list of things. We don't always have to do that. And I want you to be able to give yourself permission that that's okay. It's okay to do nothing. It's okay to be, you know, you're not being selfish by putting yourself first and taking care of you. You know what I mean? Like, so anyway, I hope this is helpful to you guys, and I hope you're going to be able to schedule a day off for yourself, whether it's a day off, whether it's an overnight, whether it's a, you know, and like, I think Frank, he's like, oh yeah, you could call one of your friends or whatever and go out to eat or go to the bar. I'm like, like, sorry, but no, I don't want anyone in my space right now. Sorry, not sorry. Like, I don't want to socialize with anyone. I want to be alone. I want to hear myself. I don't want to distract with going out with other people and, you know, partying or going out to dinner or drink. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I just want to be with me. You know, and the other thing about that is a lot of you are afraid to do that. So many people are terrified to be alone with themselves, to hear the thoughts. So here's what I would encourage you to do. If you have one of these days, don't run away from the inner conversation. Listen to it. Observe it. And then make some decisions based on it. But don't judge yourself and don't run away from it. Just don't do that. So anyway, that's it, guys. So I can't think of anything else to share with you. I think that's it. I think that wraps it up. So I hope this is helpful. We can continue speaking and having the conversation over in the free Facebook group, or you can follow me on Instagram. If this episode or any episode in the Irresistible You podcast has been helpful to you or has changed your life in any way, please let me know that by leaving a rating and review over on Apple Podcasts. It means so much to me, and it also allows other women to find the podcast and locate our little community. So on that note, I will catch you in the next episode. Until then, stay irresistible. Bye, guys.